بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ما بعد. Yesterday we stopped and we finished the recommended days to fast. And there were 7 categories. The last category being the best type of fast, sunnah fast, recommended fast, which is to fast every other day, which is the fast of Dawood alayhi salam, Prophet Dawood. To fast one day, then the next day not fast, and to fast the following day if a person wants to do that. The next section, the author rahimahullah, and inshallah we'll finish this Kitab al-Siyam tonight inshallah. From tomorrow, everything will be before Maghrib, before we break fast, about 5:15 inshallah, instead of being after Maghrib. All the classes will be before Maghrib, inshallah. So the author, rahimahullah, he moves to the days that it is disliked to fast. The days when it's disliked to fast. And if it's disliked to fast on these days, that means what? Huh? We shouldn't be fasting them. We should not be fasting the following days. The author, rahimahullah, says, وَكُرِهَ 1, 2, and 3, the first 3. إِفْرَادُ رَجَبٍ, to single out the month of Rajab. We know the month of Rajab? Rajab. Now, we spoke about this yesterday. If you don't know the Islamic calendar, some of this is not going to make sense. And that's the importance of Muslims knowing the Islamic calendar. And it's not hard. The same way we find out, and I'm not saying we should be, but people be celebrating the Chinese New Year. You know what I'm saying? We celebrating other people's calendars based on their belief, and we don't know our own months. And our months have worship attached to them that we could be worshiping Allah, getting reward for. So Rajab is a month on the Islamic calendar that before Islam, it was given a lot of importance and it was given a lot of respect, and it's still a respected month. But for a person to single out that month for fasting is disliked. Number 1, the month of Rajab. Rajab. If you spell it as R-A-J-A-B, Rajab. To single out Rajab to fast, that month to fast, is disliked. Number 2, wal Jum'ah, singling out Friday to fast. Why not fast on Friday? Jum'ah. Tayyib, which means it's the weekly Eid, and we don't fast on the day of the Eid. Jum'ah is considered a weekly Eid, and we don't fast the day of the Eid, along with the prohibition of the Prophet ﷺ. He told us not to fast on Jum'ah. Tayyib, and Jum'ah is their Eid, and we don't fast on the days of the Eid. So Jum'ah is number 2, to single Jum'ah out, meaning a person, not Ramadan, this is outside of Ramadan. In Ramadan, we fasting every Jum'ah, but we're not singling Jum'ah out, we fasting every day, the whole month. So if it wasn't Ramadan, and the person say, you know what, I'm going to fast this Friday coming up. We shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be singling out a Friday to fast. Tayyib. Number 3, wasabt. Also, we shouldn't single out Saturday to fast. I'm going to just fast this Saturday. Y'all with me? To single them out. It's not the same. It's not the same if you fasting Thursday and Friday. That means Friday is not singled out. That means you fasted Thursday and Friday. It's not the same if you fasting Friday and Saturday. It's not the same if you fasting Saturday and Sunday. It's not the same as singling out Friday just to fast on Friday. Even though if we can avoid it, we still don't want to fast on Friday. Tayyib. But singling out Friday or singling out Saturday is not the same as fasting Saturday and Sunday. Tayyib, so we clear. So those are the first 3. The third, or number 4, is washak, to single out the day or to fast on the day of doubt. The day of doubt is, let's just say for argument's sake, we know tonight is the first night of Ramadan, but yesterday was also the 29th day of Sha'ban. Tayyib. assuming, for example, the moon wasn't sighted. That means tomorrow will be the 30th of Sha'ban. On the 30th of Sha'ban, that means we would still go see the moon. What if they went to see the moon and it wasn't there on the 30th?
We would start that next day.
Right? Then shouldn't the moon be there? It could have been, what could possibly happen?
But it's still only 30. You can't go past 30. It's real foggy.
No fog. The day of Shek, let me simplify it. The day of doubt is a day when it's clear and the moon still is not there. Not the moon is cloudy. It's clear and we still don't see anything. And we like,
The 30th?
yeah, the day of the 30th. It should be there, right?
Yeah, so what's the doubt?
Damn. Jade, what's the doubt? Is it possible we miscalculated from last month?
Possibly could happen.
It's possible. And that's what I'm saying. When it comes to moon sight, you're talking about people doing it with their eyeballs. Like people can, we humans. A mistake can be made. If that happens, then it could be an error, right? If that happens, that's going to be a day of doubt. They call it a day of Shek. You shouldn't, which means that it should be there. We doubt. It might be Jumu'ah. It might be Ramadan Amar fasted. He says dislike to fast it on a day of doubt, which is number 4. The 5th day, that is dislike to fast, every kullu wa kullu Eid lil kuffar. Every Eid of the kuffar. Every time the non-Muslims have a celebration, their Eids, whatever they term them, they have Eids. You know how we have Eids? Okay. Kuffar, they're not Muslim, they have Eids also. Right? Anybody know any of their Eids? We don't know none of these. Let's say Easter. What else? Christmas. And the people, some people say, I'm fasting on Christmas. I'm going to fast on Easter. That's their day. We don't, fasting is like, there's honor in fasting. We don't honor their holidays. We're not up against their practice of what they're practicing from their deen. We're not trying to combat them when it comes to their days that they're celebrating. So just because they're having their Eid, we don't have to fast on their day to show that we don't have to do that. And to do that, to single out their Eid as a day that we're going to fast is disliked. And that's number 5, right? That's category 5. Category 6, which would have been yesterday or the day before yesterday or any time a day or two. وتقدم رمضان بيوم أو يومين ما لم يوافق عادة في الكل. To, you know Ramadan is coming up and you say, you know what, not listen y'all, not days that you owe, not days that you owe from last year. You don't owe any days. And then Ramadan is coming up in like 2 days, a day or two, and you say, well, no, I'm going to just start my fast now. I'm going to just do some voluntary fasting now. So right now, Ramadan is Wednesday. The first day of fasting is Wednesday. For a person yesterday, Monday and Tuesday, wake up on Monday and Tuesday and say, you know what, Ramadan probably going to be Wednesday. Let me just do some sunnah fast right now. It's dislike to do that. Except in the case where a person usually fasts, for example, Mondays and Thursdays. Right? A person usually fasts Mondays and Thursdays. That's their normal thing. Now, this Monday just happened to be 2 days before Ramadan. I thought it was dislike to fast 2 days before Ramadan. It is, unless that's a person's norm. If that's a person's norm, all year they fast Mondays and Thursdays. That's part of their practice. They fast on Mondays all year long. And then this Monday happened to be a day or two before Ramadan, then this rule doesn't apply to them.
They can't do that.
No, they can, because it's their norm.
Okay.
It's their norm all year round. But if it's not my norm all year round, I don't jump up now and I feel excited and then I'm gonna fast a day or two before Ramadan. Fadla.
If you're fasting on the white days,
Yes.
it happens to fall on a Friday or a Saturday. I know there's some people calam about that, but I'm not sure if you can actually, if your habit is to fast on the white days. And the
I
white
can't hear. I'm sorry, the shiyuk. I can't even hear him, y'all. I'm sorry, I can't even hear the shake. The big shake. because they shakes too. But this the big shake though. Just
Age-wise,
yes.
if you fast on the white days,
Yeah.
3 days, I think we 13, 14, 15, and it happened to fall on a Friday or Saturday.
Right.
Can you fast?
Is that a person's norm? That's their habit. Any of these, how many was it? 6 categories. Any of these 6 categories, if these are a person's normal habits throughout the year, then this doesn't apply to them. It's not dislike for them because it's their norm. It's dislike for the person who jumps up now. We feel, Ramadan's coming, you feel a little more energized and excited about fasting. Now, a day before is Monday, but it's a day or two before Ramadan. No. Then we're not supposed to do that. Everybody clear? Any of these days or any of these situations, if it's a person's norm, the white days and it falls on a Friday, then that's their norm. They're not, in that case, they're not singling out Friday. They're fasting the white days, and the white day happen to fall on a Friday or a Saturday.
And that's
Thank
what
you.
6 was, can't fast during the white, that's what y'all said?
The 6th one, number 6 is not fasting before Ramadan 1 or 2 days, which that would look like for us. What would that look like? That would look like this past Monday. What's today, Tuesday? Yeah. Yesterday. You shouldn't fast yesterday. If you're not making up a day from last year, you shouldn't fast. You shouldn't have fasted yesterday. Unless that's your normal practice. You fast on Mondays, right? And today. These are not days that's recommended to fast. These are days that's disliked to fast because it's 1 or 2 days before Ramadan. Tayyib. The days that it is, as the author says, وَحَرُمَ الصَّوْمُ haram to fast on the following days. Al-Eidain mutlaqan, both of their Eids. Both of their Eids, it is not allowed to fast on. Not the first Eid or the second Eid. Even if you got to make up days. If you have to make up days, you don't make them up on the day of the Eid.
Okay, I can ask you that too.
Yeah, you make them up the following day of the Eid. The Eid is we celebrating. We clear? Both Eids are haram to fast on. Can't fast on the day of the Eid, neither one of them. Tayyib, when it comes to the second Eid, we know the second Eid, right? This Eid is the calendar-wise. Let's just say calendar-wise. This is the first Eid, Ramadan. Then the second Eid is when Hajj comes around. When it comes to the second Eid, we already have 2 days we can't fast. The first Eid is 1 day, right? The second Eid is the second day. Y'all with me? Tayyib. The second category of days we're not supposed to fast is connected to the second Eid. The second category is connected to the second Eid. You with me? Tayyib. In reality, I'm going to split them up now. In reality, when it comes to the second Eid, it's 4 days we can't fast. When it comes to the first Eid, it's 1 day. You with me? Tayyib, what does that look like? We already know the Eid al-Fitr, the Eid at the end of Ramadan, we can't fast. That's 1 day. Then the second Eid comes. The day of the Eid, we can't fast, right? That's your second day. That's 2 days we can't fast. Connected to the second Eid, the day is called Ayyam al-Tashriq. Ayyam Tashriq. It has to do with Hajj and stoning the Jamarat. Okay? Those days, which are the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th of Dhul Hijjah. And that's where the celebration, you know how people say their Eid is 3 days? The second Eid is 3 days. That we have people sometimes don't even know it's their Eid coming up. We put the 3 days on this Eid. The second Eid. Tayyib. Either way, those 3 days, the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th of Dhul Hijjah, that's connected to Hajj. So when it goes to the second Eid, that means it will be the Eid, the second Eid is on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. That's the first day. We clear? Can't fast that day. And then you have the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th. None of those days are to be fasted. That's how many days connected to the second Eid? 4. How many days connected to the first Eid? 1. 5 days surrounded by the Eid, haram to fast. 2 days of each Eid, and then connected to the second Eid, they call it Ayyam al-Tashriq. The days of Tashriq, which is connected to the Hajj, stoning the Jamarat. Anybody here made Hajj before? No? We need to do a Hajj package. Is Hajj, we know Hajj is a pillar, right? Hajj is supposed to be like some urgency towards making Hajj. Urgency towards making Hajj. Tayyib. Either way, those days are connected to the second Eid. And those are the two categories for the days that are haram to fast. The author moves to the next issue, وَمَنْ دَخَلَ, in two things. This issue is connected to starting some type of worship and then stopping. When you, for example, you know how you start praying? You say, Allahu Akbar, you start praying. What would make you stop? Assuming you don't break your wudu. Besides breaking your wudu. You can stop them. Now, what's gonna make me say Allahu Akbar, start praying, then be like, oh no, hold up, let me go do something.
Your mother called you?
MashaAllah. Gotta go to the bathroom. Tell you, what if it's just like, let me ask you this. Your mother calling you, you gotta use the bathroom. These are all what? Valid excuses, right? Your mother's calling, she might need you, right? You gotta go to the bathroom, right? What if you don't have a reason? You just like, man, I'm gonna just pray in another half hour. Maybe the fourth quarter about to start. I'm just saying, you know how we be wrapped up in dunya. All that's dunya. Fourth quarter's dunya. Championship, playoffs, Super Bowl, dunya. Not important like that, for real. But a person says, Allahu Akbar, and then they hear the TV, because they ain't turn the TV all the way down, because they ain't want to miss nothing, right? So they hear on the TV, and they say about to kick back off. So they salam out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And they say, Shaitan, it is Isha. I'm going to just delay it. So, right? The problem is, and this is the issue, whoever starts, من دخل في فرض موسع حرم قطعه بلا عذر. Whoever starts an obligatory type of worship, like Isha, Maghrib, right? The 5 prayers are obligatory. Once you start, and this fard muwassi', it's time, and this is important. Fard muwassi' means, has anybody ever heard that before? Muwassi', fard muwassi' or wajib muwassi'. Some obligations are, they have a lot of time. You have a lot of time to do them. So for example, Dhuhr comes in 12:15. What time is Dhuhr over? 3 something, right? You got 2 hours and some change. So when the adhan for Dhuhr goes off, do you have to pray Dhuhr right now?
You should, but
Not you should. Listen to the question. When the adhan goes off, do I have to stop everything I'm doing obligatory that I pray right now? La. Dhuhr has a time frame from 12:15 to Asr. The obligation is to pray in that time frame. The obligation is not to pray as soon as the muezzin finished calling the adhan, call the iqamah, we got to pray now. The obligation is to pray within the time. That's called wajib muwassi'. It's wajib to pray, obligatory to pray the salat. But the time frame, it gives you some time to do it. And you have time to do it. So the Dhuhr comes in at 12:15. You could pray at 12:30. You could pray at 1 o'clock. You could pray at 1:30. You could pray at 2 o'clock. Did you pray Dhuhr in its time at 2 o'clock?
no.
Huh? Like at 2:30? All that's still Dhuhr. That's called wajib muwassi'. We clear? It's the same thing for Asr. It's the same thing for Maghrib. All of them have time, but not all of them have hours. I'm sorry. Everybody clear the idea? Tayyib. Once you start, let me give you the opposite just so it's clear. The opposite of wajib muwassi' is muqayyad. It's an obligation that's restricted. There is no time. For example, fasting the days of Ramadan. There's no days, no time to miss a day. You can't slide in one a Thursday, a sunnah fast on Thursday during Ramadan? Why?
It's obligatory.
Every day in Ramadan is obligatory. You can't break off and say, I'm not going to fast this Thursday. I'm not going to do a Ramadan fast. I'm going to just fast Thursday because it's sunnah. There's no time for that. Ramadan fast is restricted. Everything has to be done now. All the days have to be done now. Inside of Ramadan, we pray in Dhuhr. Dhuhr is Mawasset. Dhuhr, the adhan is at 12:15. We could pray at 12:30. That's why sometimes you might be moving around somewhere, not in your locale, and you go to the masjid, and the adhan for Dhuhr is 12:15. They don't pray Dhuhr till 1:30. You ever see that? And guess what we say? They shout out. We call them shout out because they prayed at 1:30, like they didn't pray on time. I'm glad you said. See how we be thinking? Did they pray on time? Yeah, they could pray that time. They might have did that because, and I'm telling you because I know some, they do that because everybody in that area, for example, they all work in the same area and they all take lunch break at the same time and they all come pray Jama'at together. You just a passerby. You just passing through. You don't never come up here and pray anyway. You just stop here because you Googled the closest masjid and you stopping through and you got a problem with they setup. It's inconvenience to you because either you got to wait for the Jama'ah or you just got to pray by yourself and leave. But for the people in that area, it's convenient. They all come together and pray Jama'ah together. So they don't all have to come one by one praying.
A lot of times when they delay it, it's because people on their lunch break, I pick the children up, I go back to
Right.
work and all that.
And
Take time.
even if we say delay it, they didn't delay it outside of his time. They just didn't pray it in the earliest time.
That's what I mean.
They still prayed it on time, but we use the word delay. So we're used to the adhan called, 10 minutes we pray. This is the problem, y'all. So if you go to a masjid and they don't pray 10 minutes after the adhan, they be delaying the salat down there. That's why I don't be coming here to pray. Because they didn't pray 10 minutes. If they pray 20 minutes after, 30 minutes, why they praying the Dhuhr so late? That's why I don't be coming here to pray. And then we turn it into something else. Further. Good. He said, what if somebody prays and it's only 2 minutes left? That's a different conversation, which is kitab al-salat. We're not supposed to be delaying the salat to the point where 2 minutes not even going to give you time to complete a whole salat in its time. So that means if you waited for 2 minutes until you didn't pray Dhuhr until it was 2 minutes to the adhan of Asr, that means half of your Dhuhr is going to be in the time of Asr. They're going to be calling the adhan, you're still going to be praying Dhuhr. You're not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be enough time that a person can pray the whole salat in this time, not to be delayed up to the next adhan. Tayyib. So if a person, once they start an obligatory act of worship, haram to stop it except with excuse. If that worship is obligatory, we clear? It's two different situations. If it's a voluntary worship, and I'm just using salat, but it's for any worship. If it's an obligatory worship, haram to stop what's in the time, and there's a time frame, you have time to do it. You can't just feel like, I'm gonna just stop this joint and do it later. No, you need a valid excuse, haram to do that. And if it's haram to do that, if you do it without an excuse, then what? It's a sin and deserves to be punished. It's punishable. A person deserves to be punished by Allah for doing it. Tayyib. Oh, naflin. But if it's a voluntary act of worship, it's disliked to stop it without an excuse. Disliked. Meaning it's not a sin if it's voluntary. If it's voluntary, should you stop just for no reason? You shouldn't. Is it haram to stop a voluntary act of worship for no reason? Not haram. What is it? It's disliked. Everybody clear? Except for two voluntary worships that can't be stopped. Two. Get the rule first. The rule is the obligatory worship that has time to complete it. Haram just to stop it in the middle of you doing it just for no reason. Clear? Move to the voluntary. Voluntary worship. Once you start doing it and you just stop for no reason, is that haram? No, it's disliked. You still shouldn't be doing it, but it's not a sin. Except in two cases. Voluntary. The exception for the voluntary is 2 cases. If you're making a voluntary hajj or you're making a voluntary umrah. If you're making a voluntary hajj or a voluntary umrah, you can't go to hajj, umrah, get an ihram, then well, who made umrah before? Raise your hand. All right, Jay, that's enough people. You know how you go there, you make umrah for yourself. You made your umrah. Then you might say, you know what, I'm here, I'm gonna make umrah for such and such that passed away. Right? While you there. So you say, you know what, you put your ihram on, go out to Masjid Tan'im, Aisha. You get in ihram, you go back down. Once you get down there, you're like, man, it's too crowded. This joint too crowded. I don't feel like doing it. It's too crowded. That's cool. I'm gonna just chalk this joint. I'm gonna make it tomorrow and take your ihram if you can't do that. Not for hajj or umrah. Once you're in hajj or umrah, you're in ihram, you gotta go all the way through, even though it's voluntary. What's the exception for voluntary? Voluntary is what? Dislike to stop it without an excuse except 2 cases. It's not dislike haram. You got to go all the way through when it comes to hajj and umrah. We clear? Can somebody run that back?
So
Fadl.
it's haram to stop obligatory act of worship without a valid excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's haram to stop 2 voluntary acts of worship,
Mm-hmm.
hajj and umrah.
Okay, good. Finish. One thing left.
I forgot.
Hmm.
Oh, it's dislike.
It's dislike to stop voluntary worship. Good. Any voluntary worship. You just up like, man, I'm chalk this joint. Not you broke wudu. No excuse. This is with no excuse. Just to stop. It's dislike to do that, meaning we shouldn't do it, but it's not a sin. Tayyib. It says, the author says, Wallahu a'lam. Tayyib, the last section in Kitab al-Siyam is, actually the next section is Kitab al-Hajj and Umrah. Tayyib, the last section is the section Faslun al-I'tikaf. I'tikaf. Tayyib, we know i'tikaf. What's i'tikaf?
It's the last 10, well, yeah, you can lock yourself in the masjid the last 10 nights.
You lock yourself in the masjid the last 10 nights.
Well, that's what some people do. I don't know if you can do it any time of the year, but that's
Yeah.
when I hear about people mostly doing it.
I just want to be clear. What you mean when you say you lock yourself in the
Like
masjid?
you dedicate a certain amount of time to just sit in the masjid and dhikr Allah.
Yes, good. You dedicate time to sit in the masjid for dhikr, not for a hangout. I'tikaf is not a hangout for the last 10 nights. We're just going to hang out for the last 10 in the masjid, making noise, people trying to sleep, get up and pray. You just causing commotion in the masjid, loud, talking on the phone with no earbuds drawn.
And
Yes.
you do that to get closer to your Lord.
Yes.
To concentrate just on, things you want to say, things you want to
Yes.
say.
That's what it's for. I'tikaf. The i'tikaf, luzum masjid li ta'atillah. Stand in a masjid for the purpose of worship. The purpose of being in the masjid the last 10 nights is worship. That's the point of being there. The point of being there is for worship. Everything that goes on outside of worship that's just extra. Meaning, the food, people might bring food in the middle of the night. We're not there for food in the middle of the night. We're there for worship, right? Whatever else happens besides the worship is, I don't even want to say the icing on the cake because it might distract you. Other things might distract you from the reason you're there. But the most important reason we're there is for worship. Tayyib says, Rahimahullah wal i'tikaf sunnah. Stand in the masjid the last 10 nights is sunnah, is recommended. If a person can do it, then it's recommended to stay in the masjid. Meaning you don't go home for 10 nights, right? The author didn't mention it here, but in other more detailed books, it's mentioned that i'tikaf doesn't necessarily have to be all 10. Person might make the intention to make i'tikaf for one day. Maybe they only off on the weekend. The 2 days of the week they off from work, they said, I'm gonna make i'tikaf these 2 days. And they go and they make i'tikaf for their 2 days and then they leave. They can't do the whole 10. If a person can do the whole 10, then they do the whole 10. If a person can't do the whole 10, then a person does whatever they're able to do. Sunnah, either way is sunnah. It's recommended to do it. It's not obligatory to spend a night in the masjid the last 10 nights, but it's recommended. Why is it recommended? Laylatul Qadr. What's the main point of being there? Getting close to Allah, worshiping. That's the whole point. The whole point is to be there. Maybe if I go to the masjid and sit there, I can do more reading. I can't really read at home. Something always happens. Maybe if I go to the masjid, I can learn something that I can't learn on my own. The brother gonna be there. He said he was staying. Maybe he can help me learn this surah. We doing it's supposed to be for that type of reason. طيب. The next issue, ولا يصح ممن يلزمه الجماعة إلا في مسجد تقام فيه إن أتى عليه صلاة. This is specifically for the men. It's not permissible to make i'tikaf in a masjid if that masjid does not pray the 5 daily prayers in that masjid. You have to make i'tikaf in the masjid where they pray the 5 daily prayers. Why? Fadl.
Is it considered a masjid if they don't have the 5 daily prayers?
You can't answer a question with a question.
Oh, all right. No, I don't know that.
Listen, is only allowed to make i'tikaf in the masjid, and that masjid prays all 5 daily prayers. Lesh. Why not? Why? All right, brothers. Fadl.
Because when you make an itikaf, you shouldn't leave.
Tayyib.
So if you shouldn't leave, how you gonna keep up with the farm salat if they're not praying?
You're right, but you got to be a little more clear. He said if you make i'tikaf, you can't leave. I'tikaf means I can't leave. I'm praying all 5 prayers. Wherever you're going to make i'tikaf, they got to pray all 5 prayers there. You can't go somewhere they only pray 3 prayers.
Because the obligation will rise to sunnah.
What's the obligation?
The farm salat, the khamsa salat.
In congregation, men. Congregation, brothers. The obligation for men to pray in congregation, in jama'ah. Brothers, the obligation is for men to go to the masjid and pray in congregation. You with me? If you're making i'tikaf in a masjid and they don't pray 5 times, they don't pray the 5 salawat, that means you're intentionally choosing to miss salat in congregation by maybe 1 or 2, however many salats they miss. Everybody get the idea? The idea is you got to go back. Start. Number 1, the obligation on men to pray salat in jama'ah. It's not obligatory on the women. Women pray where? Home. So if you're praying all your joints in the house, that's resembling a woman. Akhi. Men go to the masjid. You didn't pray all your joints in the living room. You can't do that. No. I'tikaf is, what's the definition? Luzum masjid. You stay in the masjid. So now we get to this issue. All right, I'm going to make i'tikaf. Wherever you make i'tikaf at, they got to pray 5 times a day. If they don't pray all 5, you can't make i'tikaf there. You can make it somewhere else, but you can't make it there. We clear?
So i'tikaf is like, that's 24 hours.
Yes. Let's say the best case scenario. You going in at the beginning of the last 10 nights, and you leaving out. This is the best case scenario i'tikaf. You going in at the beginning of the last 10 nights, and when you leave, you going straight to their Eid. You going from the masjid to their Eid. Huh? You wash up in the sink, Yahim. Listen, i'tikaf, a person's dedicated to worship. People who are dedicated to worship, like the Salaf used to say, you can see it on them. They said, Imam Ahmed rahimahullah, you can see it. You can see that he was a worshiper. When you looked at him, they saw worship on him. He had they call it athar al-nusuk. He had The what do you call that? The not traces, but the huh? Not necessarily the glow. It looked like he was worshiping. He looks like a worshiper. A person leaving, if you've been in the masjid for 10 days, it don't mean you can't clean yourself. It's water, it's running water. It's a way to clean yourself, right? A person's not worried about it. The person at I'tikaf is going with what they have. Even if they bought, let's just say they bought Eid clothes with them. Let's just say they bought something to wear to their Eid with them when they enter I'tikaf. The point is, they leaving from here, and they're going straight to their Eid. And if they didn't have any, as we call it, Eid clothes, then they go with what they have on. People gonna look at them like what? What are you gonna say to a person who's been making I'tikaf the past 10 days, and you've been sitting in the house? But you dressed up. You're dressed up. They're not dressed up, but they've been worshiping for the past 10 nights. It's not even a conversation for real. Fadl. Huh?
Also, my question is, if that's the longest, right? What's the shortest? So it's one full day, 24 hours.
No, some of the ulama say even if a person made the intention to make i'tikaf for an hour, the intention is I'm going to the masjid for dhikr, to remember Allah. That's the intent. Everybody can't be in the masjid for 10 nights. Everybody can't take off and remove all their responsibility for 10 nights or for 5 nights at a time. Somebody just got a day off or 2 days off, a weekend, whatever, the 2 days off. They take them 2 days, they say, I'm gonna use this for i'tikaf. Alhamdulillah.
I'm confused. Is i'tikaf all day and night, or
Yes.
just all night? Is
All
the
day and night.
i'tikaf overnight, or is
No, i'tikaf, we call it, that's what we call it, spending the night at the masjid. I'tikaf is luzum, staying in the masjid, period. If you're going, I'm gonna make i'tikaf for an hour. I'm going there from between Dhuhr and Asr. I'm going to make i'tikaf in the masjid from 4 to 5 o'clock. That's my i'tikaf. That's all I can do. Fadl.
So I can make the intention to do i'tikaf from say Maghrib to after Fajr, and then I leave, and I could get some type of reward for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
based on intention.
All right.
Sure, yeah, sure. Fadl. طيب. بسم الله. طيب. So the i'tikaf is to be made in the masjid where they pray the 5 daily prayers. This way, the man is not leaving prayer in a jama'ah intentionally. Every time he got to keep, or he's gonna have to keep leaving and go to another masjid. That's breaking the point of i'tikaf. The point of i'tikaf is to stay in the masjid. If they only pray 3 prayers there, you're gonna have to keep leaving to go to another masjid, keep leaving, come back. That's defeating the purpose of the i'tikaf. طيب. He says, وَشُرِطَ لَهُ طَهَارَةٌ مِمَّا يُوجِبُ غُسْلًا. Before you make i'tikaf, a person intends to go to the masjid and they're going to stay there for however long they're going to stay, 10 days, 5 days. They're not coming out for 5 days. Or if a person say they're going to do 2 days, you make sure that you make a ghusl for whatever you need to make a ghusl for. If you can't pray until you make a ghusl, you make a ghusl before you go into i'tikaf. You were intimate with your wife, you make a ghusl before you go into i'tikaf. You don't go to the masjid to make i'tikaf and you still got to make a ghusl and you think you're just going to make wudu and pray. You can't do that. Or the woman's going to make i'tikaf. She doesn't go to the masjid. She was intimate with her husband, then she go to the masjid, or her menses just went off. She go to the masjid and she never made a ghusl. She has to make a ghusl first, home. Then she goes to the masjid. So while you're at the masjid, you could just make wudu and pray. You don't have to make a ghusl. We clear? طيب. He says, وَإِن نَظَرَهُ أَوْ الصَّلَاةِ فِي masjid. If a person, and this is another, and we spoke about another yesterday, the oath. A person says, and they make an oath to Allah, oh Allah, if you do such and such for me, I'm going to stay the last 10 nights in the masjid. Everybody with me? You know how you be wanting stuff? You say anything when you want something bad enough. Man, if Allah, if you just do this for me, I'm going to do this. And you say something that you wouldn't really normally do. I'm going to fast 10 days every month for the rest of the year. Then Allah will give you what you asked for. Whatever you said you were going to do becomes obligatory. You have to do it now, even though it wasn't obligatory before that. So he says, what if a person, they make an oath that if Allah, for example, if Allah give me this job, I'm going to stay in the masjid for 5 nights in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. That means, and then they get the job, that means now them 5 nights in the last 10 nights are obligatory. Where? What masjid? As long as they make all 5 salats there, any masjid. Unless he's why? Why any masjid? All masjids you pray at, no matter where you go in the world, every masjid you pray Jama'ah in, all of them, it's the same reward for praying there, except for 3 masjids. The Kaaba, it's 100,000. The Prophet's masjid, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 1,000 for every salat, and Masjid al-Aqsa, 500 reward for every salat. All of the other masjids in the world, no matter who the imam is at the masjid, the reward for the Jama'ah is the same, which is what? How many rewards we give for praying Jama'ah? Either 25 or 27. Don't matter where you go. As long as they pray all 5, the reward is the same as far as reward for the prayer. Except at the Kaaba, it's 100,000 for every salat. At the Prophet ﷺ's masjid in Medina, 1,000 for every salat. And at Masjid al-Aqsa, 500 for every salat. All of the rest of the masjids is 25 rewards or 27. So if a person says, as long as they don't specify one of those 3, they just say, if this happens, I'm going to make i'tikaf in the masjid, they can go to any masjid. Fadl.
So you can pray in the masjid, it's like they don't practice sunnah?
That's a different conversation. We're talking about i'tikaf in the masjid. That's going to be a whole joint. We don't have time. We don't. We're not talking about learning. We're talking about the prayer. A person, as long as they don't specify one of those 3, any masjid, they're going to make i'tikaf in. The reward, as long as they pray the 5 daily prayers there. Tayyib? He says, except for those 3. What's the 3 masjids that's the exception? The Kaaba, the Prophet's masjid, or Masjid al-Aqsa. If a person says, if Allah give me this job, I'm going to make i'tikaf in the Prophet's masjid, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That means they have to make i'tikaf at the Prophet's masjid or at the Kaaba. Why or at the Kaaba?
It gotta be the same or more.
The same reward or more. So if you say the Prophet's masjid, that's 1,000 reward for every salat. right? And if they say, or you can go to the Kaaba. Why? Because the Kaaba is 100,000. So the reward has to be equal or the same, or more, I'm sorry. You can't go down. So you can't say, if Allah give me this job, I'm going to make i'tikaf at the Kaaba, which is 100,000 for every salat. And then a person say, you know what, I'm going to just do my i'tikaf at the Prophet's Masjid, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Can you do that? You can't do that. Why not? You're going lower. Prayer at the Kaaba is 100,000. Prayer at the Prophet's Masjid, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is 1,000. We clear? طيب. If a person left the general, and they just said a masjid, they can go to any masjid. But if they start specifying, if they say, I'm going to make i'tikaf at Masjid Aqsa, then they have to go where? They have to go to Masjid Aqsa, but they could go to the Prophet's Masjid because it's more reward, and they could go. Clear? They can go up, but you can't go down. We clear? Further.
What if you say to yourself, I'm going to make i'tikaf at IMFC? You still go anywhere, or you got to go to IMFC?
According to the author, he says, fi masjid, and any masjid, they all the same. We're not even going to get into IMFC talk now. Tayyib. Of course, the best masjid is what? The Kaaba. أفضلها المسجد الحرام ثم المسجد النبوي. The best place to pray is at the Kaaba. It's 100,000 rewards for one prayer. So if you pray all 5 at the Kaaba every day, you have 500,000 rewards in one day. The regular masjids that we pray at the most we get in 27. There's only 3 exceptions. The Kaaba, the Prophet ﷺ's masjid, and Masjid Aqsa. That's it. Everywhere else, the reward is the same. طيب. He says, for the person making i'tikaf, وَلَا يَخْرُجْ مِنْ اعْتَكَفَ مَنْظُورًا مُتَتَابِعًا إِلَّا لِمَا لَا بُدَّ مِنْهُ. A person, they say, if you said that, if Allah do this for me, I'm going to make i'tikaf. When you do that, and you go to the masjid, you have to do it now. You can't leave in and out the masjid. You can only go out for necessities. Only reason you're leaving out the door is for necessity. Only reason you're leaving the masjid when you're making i'tikaf is for necessity. Like what? What's a necessity? You're going to be there, hold on y'all. You're going to be there for 5 days. What are you going to need? Food. I ain't trying to trick you. You're just going to be in there unless you're going to depend on somebody. Somebody could bring you the food. You can get it delivered. But what if you can't? Let's say you can't get it delivered. You can leave to go get some food and come back. That's what you have to go. You have to get the food. Here, for example, our masjids have bathrooms. The bathroom is inside the building. Some places you go to masjids it's a separate building. The bathroom is a separate building. The wudu station is in a separate building. So you got to go out and make wudu and come back in. We clear? That's if you made it an oath. If Allah does this for me, I'm going to do that. When you do that, there's a lot of restrictions on that. Don't keep going in and out. You're going to break the i'tikaf. The point of i'tikaf is to be in the masjid, making dhikr. Not in the masjid just hanging out, charging your phone. You could charge your phone, but make dhikr. Don't do what you would do home in the masjid. If you home, and I'm not saying there's nothing, it don't have to be haram, y'all. It doesn't mean it's haram. You're home, you're reading magazines, you just random stuff. Don't do that when you're in i'tikaf. It's not the time to read random stuff, it's the time to make dhikr. Tayyib. So a person only leaves for what's a necessity. Meaning, he says, وَلَا يَعُودُ مَرِيضًا وَلَا يَشْهَدْ جَنَازَةً إِلَّا بِشَرْطٍ. You don't go visit anybody that's sick. You don't even go to a janazah. You make an i'tikaf, you don't leave for the janazah. Unless you stipulated that before you went into i'tikaf. You said, your intention is, I'm making an intention is here, that you will leave, such and such is sick, I'm going to have to visit them on Saturday. That's part of my intention when I go in, when I start. Are y'all with me? I go in i'tikaf on a Sunday night. When I go in there, I know I have to leave on Tuesday morning to go to Huck or Chop to visit somebody they sick. I know that now when I go in. I don't go to make i'tikaf, and then while I'm in there doing, people call, yo, you know such and such, and every time somebody calls, you want to leave out and go visit people, you're moving around. That defeats the purpose of the i'tikaf. The i'tikaf is to be in the masjid. Stay. Tayyib. So he says the only way you leave to visit a sick person or to attend the janazah is that a person made that a condition when they started the i'tikaf in the beginning. We clear? Fadal. Do they know it?
No, if you don't know, you make the intention, and then, Allah could create something like that.
That's a decision a person got to make. A person got to make a decision. I won't say anything. A person got to make a decision though. Allah A'lam. Tayyib. What breaks the i'tikaf? What breaks the i'tikaf? He says, وَوَطْءُ الْفَرْجِ يُفْسِدُهُ. I want y'all to separate two things. If a person is making i'tikaf, everybody know what i'tikaf is, right? Who doesn't know what i'tikaf is? Raise your hand real quick. Good. Who else? Everybody else knows what i'tikaf is? Everybody here know, all the brothers, you know what i'tikaf? Thank you. Raise your hand if you don't know what i'tikaf is. It's okay. Tayyib. Listen, we brothers, yo. It's okay not to know. Tayyib. Now, somebody, for the brothers who raise their hands, perfect. You don't know. For the brothers who didn't raise their hand, who's going to tell them what i'tikaf is? Fadla.
It's when you make the intentions to stay in masjid, like however much time you get to stay. You gotta make dhikr, like read stuff, like whatever you have to do to get closer to Allah.
Good. Is when you make an intention to stay in the masjid for the purpose of worship and dhikr. Some people stay the whole last 10 nights in Ramadan. Some people can't do it. They just stay 2 nights, 1 night. I'tikaf, the point is to stay in the masjid for dhikr, for worship. Not just for a meetup joint. We just going to sit up and drink coffee and tea all night and just bust it. I'tikaf is not for that. Even though we might be doing that, it's not for that. And when you do that, you're disturbing people who came to worship for real, for real. People come to masjid the last 10 nights to go to sleep and to wake up and pray in the middle of the night. Some of us go to hang out and just be up all night. So the brothers and sisters that's trying to sleep, the kids is running crazy, turning the lights on, knocking over stuff, putting holes in the wall, and we really don't care. We really don't care. But the people who came to worship, they try and get some sleep and get up, they do care. So we got to be mindful that when we go, okay, we got to be, some people are going, they really trying to worship. They trying to get rest and get up and pray at night. Tayyib, if a person is making i'tikaf in the masjid and they have intercourse, that ruins the whole i'tikaf is done, broken, invalid. The whole i'tikaf doesn't count. Now most of us are thinking about, well, why would somebody do that in the masjid? That's not the issue. The issue is not if that's permissible to do in the masjid. None of that's the issue. The issue is if somebody were to do that, what happens to their i'tikaf? It's invalid. Next issue. Tayyib. He says, وَكَذَا إِنزَالٌ بِمُبَاشِرَةٍ. Also, if a person's making i'tikaf and their wife is there at the same masjid, or a husband's there at the same masjid, they touching each other, foreplay, touchy-feely, and he ejaculates. I'tikaf is broken. If he's touching who?
His wife.
Touching his wife, let alone you touching a woman you're not even married to. You're talking about he's touching his wife and it's broken. Halal, his halal wife, he's touching her and they playing around and then he ejaculates, the i'tikaf is broken, invalid. Tayyib. And we almost done, it's about 3 lines less. وَيَلْزَمُ لِإِفْسَادِهِ كَفَّارَةُ يَمِينٍ. If a person breaks their i'tikaf with one of those things, intercourse, foreplay with their wife, and they end up breaking their i'tikaf, there's a penalty for that. There's a penalty. It ain't just, I'm gonna just chalk it up and try it next year or something. No. There's a penalty for breaking i'tikaf with intercourse or with inzal, ejaculation by touching. Everybody with me? Well, what's the question now? What's the penalty?
Penalty is what?
Huh?
What's the penalty?
What's the penalty? That should be the question. What's the penalty? It says kafaratu yamin, which is a reference to another type of penalty, which means a person either, in order to clear that up, they have to free a slave. Do we have any slaves? Anybody got slaves in here? No, so that's not going to work. Tell you. Or a person has to feed 10 poor people. 10 poor people. Or clothe 10 poor people. Penalty. Penalty for invalidating your own worship with an act like that in the masjid. Because that's the part we worried about. Somebody did that in the masjid? Yeah, for doing that in the masjid, there's a penalty connected to it. Tayyib. The last thing he says was sunnah bita'akud, is super highly recommended and highly emphasized when you're making i'tikaf to do the following. When we're in the masjid for i'tikaf, we should be doing number one, ishtighaluhu bil qurb. We should be doing anything that's going to get us closer to Allah. Anything that's going to get us closer to Allah, like what? Reading the Quran, or making dhikr, or praying, dua. What else? Supplications, reading Fortress of the Muslim. What else? Teaching. Helping a brother learn how to make wudu, helping a sister learn how to make wudu, helping somebody learn how to pray, helping somebody learn how to recite al-Fatiha. Nothing says be on ESPN looking up stats. In i'tikaf, it's a waste of time. You could have did that at home. Listen, the last 10 nights are super important. There's only 10 nights like that in the whole year, which means we got 300 and some other nights we could be looking at stats or whatever we're looking at. I'm not saying looking up stats is haram. I'm just saying that's not the best time to be doing an i'tikaf in the masjid. Anything that's going to help us to be better Muslims, worshiping, is what we're doing in i'tikaf. We're not just hanging out. Read, learn a new dua, make sure you're praying right, make sure the brother, the sister sitting next to you, make sure we're doing everything right, make sure we get sleep. So when it's time to get up and pray in the middle of the night, we get up. Sometimes we be hanging out so much, in the middle of the night when everybody get up and pray, we be on the wall asleep. That's defeating the purpose. The purpose was to get up and pray the night prayer. That's the first thing. He said, do anything type of work that's going to get a person closer to Allah. And the last thing he said, وَاجْتِنَابُ مَا لَا يَعْنِيهِ. He said, and stand away from things that don't concern you. What does that mean? Mind your business. What does minding my business look like nowadays? Stand away from idle talk. What else? No gossiping. No backbiting. What else, y'all? It's all right to say it, say it. We need to know what we're supposed to be doing and what we're not supposed to be doing. Listen, y'all. Everybody's business on their page is their business. Scrolling through everybody's page while you're in i'tikaf is their business. They ain't gonna do nothing for you. We could scroll the other 300-something days when we sitting home and moving around. If we had to match that, we're gonna take our time out and energy to get up 2 o'clock in the morning, drive to a masjid, wherever we are, to pray, stand and pray for an hour and a half. We should probably take as much advantage as possible of the situation. There's people right now, last Ramadan was their last one. No more. They don't have no more taraweehs that we about to do. They don't get no more. They already did, that's what their last one. They don't have no more last 10 nights, and neither do we until we reach the last 10 nights. Ain't no guarantee that we're gonna be here for the last 10 nights. So we wanna try to minimize all of that and do as much as we can to benefit during that time, and I'll stop there so we can prepare for Salatul Isha, inshallah. Every night we'll pray Isha at 7:30, and then we'll pray Taraweeh immediately after Isha, inshallah. The classes will be before Maghrib, before we break fast at 5:15. So it won't be any class after Maghrib, like this time, starting tomorrow. Everything will be from 5:15 before we break fast, inshallah, unless there's any questions. Khalas. Fadl.
Still on Bible. slave. Now, whether you can afford it or not, that's another issue. There's few countries that still have slaves.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. I'm stopping there.